Hello students, this is Apeksha and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to take CA Intermediate Auditing Subject Question and Answers session, Chapter 1 Nature, Objective and Scope of Audit. Before we start, do subscribe the channel for future updates. Without wasting your time, let's begin. So first, correct incorrect is state with reasons in short whether the following statements are correct or incorrect. First is the basic objective of audit does not change with reference to nature, size or form of an entity. So what do you think, what should be the answer of this? The basic objective of audit does not change with reference to nature, size or form of an entity. So this is absolutely correct. An audit is an independent examination, right, of financial information of an entity, whether profit oriented or not, and irrespective of its size or legal form, when such an examination is conducted with a view to expressing an opinion thereon. So you have to remember this, that audit is an independent examination. It is not dependent on whether the entity is profit oriented or not, whether it has a large size turnover or not, whether what is the legal form it is, and so on. You have to, what is your objective? Your objective is to do the examination and to express the opinion thereon, right? So it is clear that the basic objective of auditing is what? Expression of opinion on what? Financial statements. What does financial statements include? It includes profit and loss statement, it includes balance sheet, cash flow statements and all related things, right? So expression of opinion on financial statement does not change with reference to nature, size or form of an entity. So you have to remember this. This can also come for your MCQs, all right, or otherwise it can also come for correct and incorrect. So you have to remember that the basic objective of auditing does not change with reference to the nature, size or form of an entity. Okay, now the second, correct incorrect. The purpose of an audit is to enhance the degree of confidence of intended users in the financial statements. Is it correct? Yes, it is correct. Very good. So second question ka answer is also correct. Why? As per SA, Standards on Auditing 200, overall objectives of the independent auditor and the conduct of an audit in accordance with standards on auditing, the purpose of an audit is to enhance the degree of confidence of intended users in the financial statements. Ye answer, in this answer what they have done, they have quoted SA 200 and along with that they have what? Repeated the question itself, right? Then what they have said, this is achieved by the expression of an opinion. Yes, by the expression of an opinion. When the auditor gives opinion, the users of audit gets what? Confidence on that financial statement, right? Confidence on that financial statement, whether the financial statements are prepared in all the material respects in accordance with an applicable financial reporting framework. Correct? Yes. Clear? Now, one tip I would like to give here. If you're not able to mention the entire standard on auditing का जो headline है, for example in this case overall objectives of the independent auditor and the conduct of an audit in accordance with standards on auditing, so you can cut down this. You can talk about that, you can say that SA 200 deals with overall objective of the auditor. Okay, or otherwise you can say that SA 200 deals with objectives of auditor and the and its conduct in regarding standards on auditing, right? So you can say like that. It's not important to quote the entire headline if you can't remember at all, right? If you can remember, it is well and good, but if you can't remember, there's no problem. You can just write that SA 200 deals with overall objectives of independent auditor, or you can say that SA 200 is related with so and so topic, and then you can continue the answer, right? Now third, correct incorrect. Let's move on. The auditor is not expected to and cannot reduce audit risk to zero and cannot therefore obtain absolute assurance that the financial statements are free from material misstatement due to fraud or error. So you have to say whether this is correct or incorrect. So before we move on, absolute assurance means total 100% of assurance, which in any case auditor can never give, right? There are inherent limitations. There are certain limitations which even auditor can't do anything about it. So I think this statement has to be correct. So yes, let's move on to answer that is given by the institute. So see, essay 200 again, which relates to the overall objectives of independent auditor. The auditor is not expected. So here, when you are sure that the answer is correct, you will repeat the answer, repeat the question. Okay, you will repeat the question. You will quote the essay, right? You will quote the essay and you will repeat the question. So here, after repeating the question, then you will talk that the reason why you are saying that this answer is correct, right? So this is because there are inherent limitations, right? As I told you, audit will always have an inherent limitation. So this is because there are inherent limitations of an audit which result in most of the audit evidence on which the auditor draws conclusions and bases the auditor's opinion being persuasive rather than conclusive. Okay, so this, the last line you can see is all about what? Which last line am I talking about? I'm talking about this last line. So this last line is all about what? The reason that why you are giving the answer as correct. Okay, so in every correct incorrect you have to mention the reason. Okay, so that is why it is important to at least go through these correct incorrect questions, right? And after doing this lecture, I don't think that there is a need for you to do the self study. After this, you can only watch this lecture once and you will get the clarity of it, right? So these were the 3 correct incorrect. I think these were very easy. So for now, let's move on to the theoretical questions. So hey guys, before we move ahead, one update. Ma'am, from where have you taken these questions? So source is module only, students. I have compiled all the descriptive type questions from ICAI module itself. So this is a compilation from module of test your knowledge, test your understanding questions. MCQs and case studies are not included in this. So take note of it. So let's move on further. After doing correct incorrect questions, now we move on to theoretical questions. So this is going to be really helpful for you all. Okay, so yes, first question, let's move on. Choosing of appropriate accounting policies in relation to accounting issues is responsibility of management. Okay, do you agree? Discuss duty of auditor, if any, in relation to accounting policies. So answer is choosing of appropriate accounting policies is responsibility of management. So what accounting policies are to be included, or what accounting policies are to be followed for the entity is all the responsibility of management. So management has the responsibility to decide whether what accounting policies are to be inculcated for the entity. The role of auditor lies in evaluating selection and consistent application of accounting policies by the management. So what is the role of auditor in this? The auditor has to examine that what accounting policies are being followed by the management, by the entity, and are they applied consistently year on year, right? Is the accounting policy consistently followed by the entity or the management, right? And for the scope of audit, they have also asked us the scope of audit, right? So scope of audit, you have to refer to the scope of audit section in the module. Okay, in the module we are moving to the second question, because scope of audit as it is given in the this thing module, so you will get the answer there. Next is second question is, assurance engagements are not restricted to audit of financial statements alone. So where the auditor is supposed to give the assurance now, it is not just restricted for the financial statements. So what all things are included in it? Let's see. So see, audit of financial statements, type of assurance is the reasonable assurance. Second is review of financial statements. So auditor can also take up the audit of reviewing the financial statements, to review others' work, right? So this is called as what kind of assurance is this? It is limited assurance. What is it? It is limited assurance. So this can also come for your MCQ, so you should remember this. Third is examination of prospective financial information. Examination of what? Prospective prospective financial information. What type of assurance is this? What kind of assurance is this? It provides assurance regarding reasonability of assumptions forming basis of projections and related matters. What kind of assurance is a prospective financial information? It provides assurance regarding reasonability of assumptions, means agar if you have if the management has taken certain assumptions and made financial statements accordingly, so you have to, as an auditor, you have to know the reasonability of such assurance, such assumptions. So this is that type of assurance. Engagement is nothing but a agreement, okay, forming basis of projections and related matters. Next type of assurance is what? Report on controls operating at an organization. So provides assurance regarding the design and operation of controls. Yes, by reading this assurance type itself, we get to know that control के बारे में कुछ होगा. It must be something about the controls, right? So operation of this controls, the design of this controls, that is another engagement, right? So these are the 4 types of engagements and the 4 types of assurance, right? So yes, this is absolutely correct that assurance engagements are not just restricted to the audit of financial statement alone. Now next, third question in your theoretical questions is, an assurance engagement involves a 3-party relationship. Discuss meaning of 3-party in such an engagement. Now see, a 3-party relationship involves, who all are involved in this 3-party relation? So see, a practitioner is involved, a responsible party is there, and intended users are there, An assurance engagement involves above said 3 parties. A practitioner is a person who provides an assurance. You can call it an auditor also, right? Auditor in this case is nothing but a practitioner. The term practitioner is broader than auditor. Audit is related to historical information, whereas practitioner may provide assurance not necessarily related to the historical financial information. So it can be anything. So that is why practitioner is a broader term than the auditor, okay? A responsible party is the party responsible for preparation of subject matter. For example, you can say management is responsible for making financial statements, so that is nothing but a responsible party. Then intended users are the persons for whom an assurance report is prepared. So these persons may use the report in making decisions. So intended users is nobody but who is requiring that report, who is requiring that assurance report, right, to take necessary decisions regarding it. So these are the 3 party to the assurance engagement. One is the practitioner. How you can remember this? Practitioner मतलब ऐसे समझ लेना कि auditor है. उसका scope, though the scope is broader of practitioner, but you will remember it as an auditor, management and the user, okay, like that. Next, 4th question, a chartered accountant is specifically asked to check accounts whether fraud exists. State with reason whether it is an example of reasonable assurance engagement. So the answer is, it is not a reasonable assurance engagement. It is in nature of investigation. So when a chartered accountant is asked to just see the, whether the fraud exists or not, so it is not a reasonable assurance engagement. It is an investigation. So there's a difference between reasonable assurance engagement and investigation, okay? So it is not a reasonable assurance, it's an investigation. Ma'am, kya ye is this question in your module have this question has a one-liner answer? So yes, this question only has one-liner answer in your module as well, okay? So don't take that much of tension of this question. Let's move on to the next question, and that is your 5th question without wasting your time. An audit does not provide absolute assurance, of course. Discuss how nature of audit procedures itself is one of the reasons due to which audit cannot provide absolute assurance. So what are we supposed to do in this question? So we know that audit does not give total 100% assurance. So we have to discuss how nature of audit procedures, means we have to tell कि कैसे audit procedures is the reason, first one of the reason itself that the audit does not give absolute assurance. So see, the auditor carries out his work by obtaining audit evidence through performance of audit procedures. We all know this, that without getting audit evidence we cannot give the opinion, right? So what does auditor do? It gets the audit evidence. And how does it get the audit evidence? By performing the procedures, by performing the audit procedures, right? That's what we have to start this answer with this. Then, however, there are practical and legal limitations. What are they? There are practical and legal limitations on ability of auditor to obtain audit evidence. Auditor to obtain audit evidence. So to obtain the audit of evidence, there are also certain limitations. There are certain practical and legal limitations. So I would like to add one thing here. You have to write as it is answer. Means what? At least if you're not able to write as it is answer, you have to write the keywords. Okay, you have to write the keywords like practical, legal limitation, then audit evidence, then audit procedures, right? So all these things you have to write as it is in your answers. So for example, an auditor does not test all transactions and balances. It is not possible for auditor to check all the transactions, all the balances. Why? It will take so much of time of the auditor, right? So it is not practically possible. So ye kya ho gaya? This is one of the practical limitation, right? He forms his opinion only by testing samples. It is an example of practical limitation on auditor's ability to obtain audit evidence, right? So this is going to be there. Nobody is going to check 100% of your bills and invoices and everything and do all the check all the transactions. It is merely not practical and not possible for any auditor. So this is going to be one of the limitations. So this is something which is limitation in the nature of audit procedures, right? Management may not provide complete information as requested by auditor. Many of the times what happens that auditor asks for information to the management, but management is not able to provide all the information, the 100% total information to the auditor, but for some or the other reason. So there is no way by which auditor can force the management. You cannot force the management that nahi humko ye information chahiye hai kuch bhi karke. You cannot do that. You can only request them. So this is also one of the limitation, right? Yes. So in case he is not provided with required, he means who? Auditor is not provided with the required information. He can only report. He can only do what? He can report. It is an example of legal limitation on auditor's ability to obtain audit evidence. The management may consist of dishonest and unscrupulous people and may be itself involved in fraud. So many of the times it may happen that management khud hi kya hai? Dishonest. He is not honest. Means even if management is providing you with information, he can manipulate that information. He can behave dishonestly, right? And sometimes it may also happen that management himself is involved in the fraud. So why will he give honest information, right? It may be engaged in concealing fraud. Concealing means what? Hiding the fraud. By designing sophisticated and carefully organized schemes which may be hard to detect by the auditor, right? It may produce fabricated documents before auditor to lead him to believe that audit evidence is valid. Fabricated means somewhat arranged documents accordingly, right? However, in reality, such documents could be fake or non-genuine. Means showing the documents as if they are real and they are genuine, but in reality they are fake and genuine. Those are called as fabricated documents. So we have already discussed under section on scope of audit that an auditor is not an expert in authentication of documents. So this can come for the MCQ, okay? Wait, let me highlight it for you. So this can come for your MCQ, that an auditor is not an expert in authentication of documents. When MCQs come, you really get confused whether auditor is an expert or not an expert in authentication of documents. So this is important that whenever you study with focus, so that you really know that what is the correct answer. So you have to remember that auditor is not an expert in authentication of documents. Therefore, he may be led to accept invalid audit evidence on the basis of unauthenticated documents. It is quite possible that entity may have entered into some transactions with related party. Related party means what? They may be family members, they may be friends, they may be director of the company or anybody. So these are what related parties. So it may happen that the entity may enter into related party transactions. Such transactions may be only paper transactions and may not have actually occurred, right? For example, if I can give you in the financial statement, it is showing that there is unsecured loan taken from a family member, but in real there is no such loan taken, it is only in the paper. Okay, so this is one of the example. The auditor may not be aware of such related party relationships. Now auditor is not going to go and see whether really loan is given or not or whatever. He can only see the papers, right? So that's the thing. Or audit procedures may not be able to detect probable wrongdoing. So this is also called as detection error. So there can also be a detection error or detection risk from the side of the auditor, that he is not able to detect such fabricated document or a fabricated transaction. So this is the last point of this question. So I hope you must have understood these 5 theoretical questions. Only for the first question you have to by yourself go in the scope of audit section in your module and just read it out once, so that you will be well acknowledged with all the question ka answers, right? Now there are test your understanding questions which we are going to do. You can take a break of 1 minute, and if you like the lecture, do subscribe it and do give it a like, do give it a thumbs up. Yes, if you have came till here, do give it a thumbs up so that I will be motivated by it. Okay. Alright, so let us start with test your understanding questions. I hope you're liking these lectures. Okay, let's start. Test your understanding question number 1. Lalji Bhai has purchased shares of a company listed on NSE. The audited financial statement of company provide picture of healthy financial performance, having robust turnover, low debt and good profits. So there is this Lalji Bhai who has purchased shares of a company from a which is the company is listed in the new NSE, right? In the NSE, and what the audited financial statement of that particular company from where this Lalji Bhai has purchased the shares is having a good picture, healthy financial performance and all. So on the basis of this, he is absolutely satisfied that money invested by him is safe, and there is no chance of losing his money. Do audited results and audit reports of companies provide such assurance to investors like Lalji Bhai? Is thinking of Lalji Bhai correct? So basically what are they asking in this question is, Lalji Bhai, after watching the financial information and a statement of the audited financial statement of the company, he is taking a decision to invest in that company, having seen the good turnover, good debt position, good profits. He is willing to invest in that company, and he's assured that that I have invested in a good company. So is this thinking of Lalji Bhai correct or not? We have to tell this. So see the answer. An audit does not provide assurance to investor in shares regarding safety of his money. So Lalji Bhai was talking about what? Whether he is absolutely satisfied that money invested by him is safe. We not giving the assurance about anybody's money is safe or not, right? Assurance engagement is not about telling the users whether your money is safe or not. We just do giving the assurance about the financial statements, like whatever we have been provided by the management, we are giving our opinion on that basis, right, after critical examination. But see, the audit does not provide assurance to the investor in shares regarding safety of his money. Share prices of securities are affected by range of factors, so it is not just one factor, it is range of factors that affect the prices of securities. An audit only provides reasonable assurance that financial statements are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. So Lalji Bhai, if he invest in certain price, suppose he invest in 100 when the share price was 100 rupees, Lalji Bhai invest, for example, we cannot, as an auditor, we cannot guarantee whether your money is going to, the prices of the shares are going to rise in future or it is going to deplete in future. So we can't say whether your money is safe or not. We just going to give what reasonable assurance about the financial statement of that company, whether the company's you know financial statement are free from any fraud or error. We just giving that. So hence thinking of Lalji Bhai is absolutely wrong and it is not correct. Okay, not correct. Next, test your understanding number 2. Now there is a Good Deeds Limited. There is a company who is engaged in the business of recycling of waste. Okay, recycling of waste. So it is so in this way helping to make the city clean. Okay, this is all not so useful. What is useful is, during the course of audit by Zoha and Zoha, a firm of auditors, it is observed by auditors that company has received a notice from the Central Bench of National Green Tribunal for not following certain environmental regulations. So what has this company did? This company is not followed certain environmental regulations. ऐसा उनको क्या आया है? They have received such notice from the Central Bench. And it involves what? Imposition of hefty monetary. Hefty means what? Huge penalty on the company. So the company is yet to reply to the note. Company has not replied to the notice. So auditor point out that same is not stated in notes to accounts in financial statement. So the company is not mentioned this particular information about the penalty in its financial statement. So the company points out that auditors are going beyond their scope. So we have to, so in this question we have to tell whether the auditor is working in its scope or not. What is the scope of the auditor? So does such a matter fall within the scope of audit? So we have to talk about the scope of audit in this answer. So see, proper disclosure of financial information is well within scope of audit. So audit does deal with whether the company has made proper disclosures or not. Okay, so yes, this much is only the answer of this question, guys. Only this much is the answer. And if you want to add up to this answer by your own, you can add up that paragraph of scope of audit. Yes, scope of audit ka jo bhi whatever the paragraph must be there in your chapter, in your module, you can add this after this answer. But in your module as of now, for test your understanding, only one liner is given. So what you can do is you can repeat the question, this entire question you can repeat, fact of the case, then you can write the answer. And yes, you can conclude that the company is not correct and it must give the disclosure. So you can do this. Okay, test your understanding number 3. A huge fire broke out in Noida plant of a certain company. Plant assets comprises of the building, machinery, inventories, all of these, and they were insured from the branch of a public sector insurance company. Apart from insurance surveyor, who was deputed for assessing loss, the regional office of insurance also appointed a CA for verification of books, financial records of the company. He was also requested to submit an early report. So auditor is hired out for what? For appointed for what? For verification of the books in case where there is a there was a fire. Yes, fire was broke out, and due to that certain insurance related thing comes up, and the CA is appointed for verification of the books of accounts of such out. Okay, where fire broke out. So what is the question here? He was also requested to submit an early report. Would the report by CA in nature of audit report? So you have to say whether it is in the nature of audit report or whether it is investigation. Yes, so let's see the answer. Appointment of CA for verification of books of accounts of financial records and circumstances surrounding the loss is for a specific objective. What is it for? This is important. What? The word specific objective. So it was for a specific objective, right? To determine the genuineness of loss and any issue affecting liability of insurance company. So it is an investigation and not in the nature of audit report. So it is not for the intended, it's not for the users or the stakeholders or the investors. It is for the insurance company. It is for the insurance company that the books of accounts are to be verified. So it is in the nature of investigation because it has the quality of specific objective, right? So yes, this is the answer. Now there is fourth test your understanding question. Ziba Products is a partnership firm engaged in trading of designer dresses. So there is a partnership firm which is engaged in what? Trading of designer dresses. So firm has appointed JJ and Company chartered accountants to audit. Auditors were satisfied with the controlling system, carried out certain procedures and necessary verification. They carried out sample checking of purchases and bills, GST, etc. However, later on it was discovered that purchase manager responsible for procuring the dresses from one location was also booking fake purchases. So, these auditors, they did the audit, verified and everything, and they come to know that the purchases were certain purchases were fake purchases. The procuring manager was booking these fake purchases of small values by colluding with unethical dealers. Colluding means उनके साथ काम कर रहा था. Okay, payments to these dealers were also made in connivance with accountant through banking channel. The partners of firm blame auditors for futile audit exercise. Are partners of firm correct in their viewpoint? Imagine any probable reason for such a situation. So we have to say, means in this case what happens is the procuring manager was booking fake purchases, and the partners of the firm are blaming auditors for such exercise. So are the partners of the firm जिसका audit हो रहा है, is their point of view correct or not? We have to say this. So see, it is an example of failure of internal controls of the firm. First we have to say that what is this failure all about. So this failure is about the internal control. If there was a good internal control system, there won't have this kind of fake booking of purchases, right? So the internal control has not operated due to collusion between employees. So there is collusion between the employees, the manager and everything, which is a limitation of internal control itself. The auditor has relied upon internal controls. It is very nature of financial reporting that management is responsible for devising suitable internal controls. This is an inherent limitation of audit. So we have to say that this is an inherent limitation of audit. This is a deficiency in the internal control system. Internal controls are the responsibility of the management, and auditor is relying upon such internal control system. So management must see whether must put good internal controls systems in their entity. Okay, so this is the answer that you have to give. Yes, the answer is only 4 liners, only this much. So you have to, but you don't have to give any here and there answer. You just have to give these 4 lines and you will get 4 out of 4. Okay, test your understanding. Fifth question. The management of Exotic Tours and Travels Limited requested its auditors to provide an assurance report on financial statement for first quarter by skipping required detailed procedures. Okay, so here we can see that skipping the required detailed procedures. So the management of the company is asking the auditor to skip certain audit procedures. Is it correct or incorrect? Obviously it is incorrect. You cannot restrict auditor to do its work. So now, can Raja and Company, means the auditor, provide such a report? What would be the nature of such a report? Would it be necessary for them to obtain sufficient appropriate evidence in such a case? So you have to tell that whether auditor can do this, and if he can do this, what is it called? Okay, so see, such audit report would be in the nature of review. So this is a review report. It's not a assurance, means it is a assurance report only, but it's not a reasonable assurance. It's a review report. Okay, however, auditors would have to obtain the sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Auditor will have to talk about get the sufficient appropriate audit evidence regarding this. So such report would be in the nature of review. Okay, next question. CAP is conducting audit of financial statement of Quick Buy Private Limited. He was not able to obtain external confirmation. Okay, external confirmation means taking the auditor ask for the confirmation from the third party whether the anything, whether the account balances or certain information is correct or incorrect, or ask for the positive confirmation, negative confirmation, all those things. So that is external confirmation from certain debtors due to practical difficulties and peculiar similar circumstances. However, such a procedure is mandated under one of standards on auditing. Unable to obtain external confirmation from these debtors, he relied upon the sale details to these parties, e-invoices, e-way bills. He was reasonably satisfied with audit evidence obtained. Is there any other reporting duty cast upon him relating to not following a mandated procedure in one of standards on auditing? So see, taking external confirmation, requesting for external confirmation is one of the mandatory thing in one of the standards on auditing. So if he's not getting such external confirmation, because without management's agreement we cannot get the external confirmation, so maybe for any reason auditor is not able to get the external confirmation, so क्या उसकी कोई responsibility है? Does he has any responsibility to report such thing? This is the question. So now he is required to document, means write, how alternative procedure performed achieve the purpose of required procedure. So now the auditor has taken the alternative procedure from getting the details from the sales, from the e-way bill, e-invoices. So this is the alternative procedure that auditor has used instead of external confirmation. So how does that, so you have to document as an auditor that how such alternative procedure achieve the purpose of required procedure. Reason for departure means reason that why you have not considered external confirmation and why you're proceeding further with the alternative procedure. So reason you have to give. His report should draw attention to such departure. Okay, so here we finish all our questions and with the answers, all the descriptive question and answers of the chapter number 1 of CA Intermediate Auditing subject. So let me know in the comment section if you like this lecture. I will come up with all the chapters question and answers, and if you want I will also conduct or upload a marathon session of all the question and answers, so that before exam, even if before exam you do 2-3 times listen to the lecture, you will be well and good prepared for the examination. You don't have to worry about the question and answers. If you want the entire lecture, do let me know for that also. Okay, as of now complete these question and answers. All right, so bye bye and take care. See you in my next lecture.